Okay, this video is going to be a follow-up to a video I posted on February 15th, 2024, and at that time I was very newly injured, severely injured from a fall after being sick in my own home. I was very weak and depleted and fell halfway down 14 steps. Didn't even feel it coming, just found myself in a heap at the bottom, and it wasn't pretty. Double compound open fracture. Had to be ambulanced to a trauma emergency room, and from there 2 weeks hospitals, rehabs, and back home again. So what I wanted to update is where I am 1 year later, a little bit more than a year later. First of all, I'm really grateful that I am walking. I'm so grateful. I can't even tell you how. I never really took it for granted. I can't say that I did. I've always loved walking. Walking's always been a joy because I live in a beautiful area where there's so many places to walk, and I'm grateful for that. But I'd like to say I'm completely healed and I'm just continuing on in my recovery, but that's not the truth. I have one section of bone that has not, they said, like, it's not in union. And so the next step is a bone stimulator, which hopefully will work. I read online it has a 67 to 90% success rate, so we will see. I'm still waiting to hear from the doctors about how that's going to get started. I just was at the surgeon's about a week ago and found that out. But if that doesn't happen after 3 to 6 months, then there's another surgery. So all I know is that God is with me in all of this. He has seen me through the most unexpected, most difficult year of my life. My life changed in a second. I mean, it all happened in a week. It was just bizarre. I attended a funeral. 2 days later, I ended up with a very bad, I believe it was the norovirus. I was completely depleted. The next day after I started to recover, I must have been very weak, probably dehydrated. And that's when I was walking very slowly down the steps and fell. And then from there on, my life changed. Couldn't even believe it. So now I'm just trusting in God still, because He's shown me that as I live from the center, my center, which is where He resides within me, His Spirit, it's at that deep place where I can have His peace. I mean, someone just asked me yesterday, they wanted me to get together and like a regular place where it's a long distance, like get together to do something. And I just said, well, those are my physical therapy days, Mondays and Thursdays. And they said, well, when will it end? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm thankful for physical therapy. I gotta say, I think I'm somewhat in better shape than when I started because of working out in the gym and on all that equipment. But now they told me, because it's not completely healed, I asked, well, should I keep going on? Should I keep pushing? And he said, use moderation. Don't go too hard, but don't go too little. So I'm trying to figure out what that means. So, I can just, I want to go on with my life. I want to take a trip. I want to do something more than just be here. But like a trip, when I say a trip, just a drive to see family, that kind of thing. But every morning I wake up and I have a choice. I can choose to depend on God, or I can choose to just fall in despair. Because I'm walking. Yeah, I did physical therapy starting in May. I had gone from surgery on the 21st of February last year to I went to rehab for 1 week in between the fixator and the surgery. Then I got a really big cast for 2 weeks. They took that off. Then they put on a smaller cast for a month. Then I went to the boot for a month without being able to bear weight. That was really fun, let me tell you, with that heavy boot. And then from May till now, which is February, the end of February, I'm still in physical therapy. And I went from a walker to a cane to not using a cane. Now, I don't walk perfectly. I kind of have a limp sometimes. I have to focus on turning my foot in. I'm probably never going to be the same. I've healed really well as far as my scars and things, but I just wanted to update what has happened since then in case you saw that and you were curious. So also lately, as I think about all this and I ponder what is my future, I was reading something that said from one of the devotionals I mentioned in the other video, Jesus Calling. I love that. Anyway, it said in fact, this was a couple days ago's reading, hold God's hand in trusting dependence. Let him guide me through this day. So my future looks uncertain and flimsy, even precarious. But this is what I'm to do, and I love this. Relax and enjoy the journey in God's presence. Trusting him to open the open the way before I go. I can't read my writing in my journal, it's sloppy. I love this. This is what I'm really focusing on my effort to do, is to relax and enjoy the journey, no matter how it is. Just look for those moments of joy. There's always a moment of joy, like I'll see a bird outside. I'll see a nuthatch trying to get a peanut out of the feeder, and that to me is a moment of joy. That's how exciting life is right now. But I mean, really, seriously, to me, the greatest blessings are the little things, and even the big things. God has shown me that as I give things to him, like just each problem, I'll just say, Lord, I give you this. I know you can help me with this. You can help me solve it. And he's done it every time, even with insurance reimbursement. And well, maybe that is not an easy path to navigate. I've been going through a battle over a year to get reimbursement from a couple ambulance trips that I had to be on a stretcher between rehab and doctor's office and then going back to the hospital for surgery. And God blessed me with someone from the ambulance company who was amazing. She was such a help. And I really feel like he gave me favor with her because it was a rough path, and she was just so helpful. And it's finally, I think, solved just as of last week. So, I mean, I just committed detailed prayers to him about specific amounts of money getting back that I was due. And then I got a phone call immediately after I prayed where she said exactly she was going to do what I prayed about. And it was like amazing. I mean, there's just certain things like that have been happening. And I can't deny that it's anything but God and his hand working with me. So the summary of this, and also I want to say before I close this, I'm so grateful for our first responders, for ambulance, for medics, the people I had. I really wanted to go back to the ambulance company one day. In fact, the picture I'm going to post as my thumbprint on this, I was on the road a couple weeks ago, and an ambulance from that company was right in front of me. And boy, did that bring back memories. And I thought, I wonder if it's the people that helped me. I would love to go back and thank them. And I followed the ambulance to where they pulled into the fire department where they belonged in the town. And I followed them to the parking lot, and it wasn't anybody familiar. It was a woman and an older guy, and I had two young guys. They just looked at me, and I just kind of saluted them and drove away. And I thought, well, I probably should have told them why I did that. But maybe one day I'll get to do that. It's so funny. I'll always remember AJ, this young man who sat in the back with me. There's a driver, and then there was one in the back. And he had this most beautiful, long, wavy brown hair. And I just kept saying, I love your hair. I mean, he had the most beautiful hair I've ever seen. And, I got to share about God in my life in the back of the ambulance on the way to the trauma ER. And, I asked him to tell me about his life, and then I told him about my life when I was around his age and how it changed, how Jesus changed my life when I was 22 years old. And it was just, when I look back, that was really a blessing. So I cannot say, why do these things happen? I can't say. I can say that I believe God prepared me. I had hours and hours in this room in prayer. He gave me 20 plus songs, prayers, things I wrote, I published before this even happened. And then all of that he placed within me as a gift, that as resources I could reach for, because a lot of the songs were scripture. And for me, the easiest way to remember scriptures that are really meaningful is to sing them, because if I sing, it's really healthy to sing, I believe, and it just really helps me remember, those words. So I just wanted to share this update, and maybe within 6 months, or when I know the answers to whether I could have surgery, have to have another surgery, I'll share that. And they did say it wouldn't be as involved, which is good to know. But it's the recovery. The recovery is so hard when you can't bear weight on your foot. That is the hardest thing for me, to not be able to do anything, hardly. It was hard. It was really difficult. But I will say that I'm so grateful. And the focus, the summary for me is keep my focus on God's presence in the present. Live in the present. It is a gift from God. Love, love, love. That's what I feel like is what is being spoken to me. And that's it. That's it. Just live in the present. It's a gift from God. And sometimes it's very difficult, because, we can think about past memories, especially when you're older like me. You think about all those beautiful moments in life, but then I just go to gratefulness. I just thank God for all that he has done in my life, and all that the beautiful life that I've had. And right now I'm just in a difficult time. I'm much better off where I was, much better off. I can walk I walk an average of, when I do walk, about 5 times a week, a mile to a mile and a half. I've gone, or a mile and a quarter is more the average, but I've gone up to a mile and 3/4 one time. And it felt really good after a while. But then when I went back, they said, don't push it, moderation. So then I don't know if I should go that far right now. So I'm just kind of feeling it out. But again, I am grateful. I keep my focus on God's presence in the present, and just relax and enjoy the journey with him. And that's where I am now. Thanks for listening. And I hope that if anyone else is going through difficult times, that perhaps a few words I spoke can be of some encouragement, because life isn't perfect here, that's for sure. But I am so thankful for God and his help in my life. And I thank Jesus. Amen.